There is a war happening on the soul of our nation, a war on truth, a war on justice, a war on the people. My name is Minister Dominique Alexander. I have stood on the front lines, not in comfort of political chambers, but in the heat of the streets where injustice meets resistance. For the last decade, I've led the Next Generation Action Network into the fight for human and civil rights, from the courtroom steps to the classroom, from the protest line to the policy room. But now we bring the front line to you. Hello, y'all. My name is Minister Dominique Alexander. Y'all, this is another episode of Frontline. Y'all, today, man, woo, it's been a crazy 24 hours, y'all. A crazy 24 hours. Y'all, just so y'all know, I missed yesterday because Jeremy had his 45th birthday, and he went out and had acted real light-skinned and didn't show up to work the next day, right? So I had to miss a day or whatever. It was Jeremy's fault or whatever. So I just wanted y'all to know I kept my commitment, even though, I got to throw him under the bus. I'm sorry. He knows he's my boy. But look, so real quick, today's show, man, is talking about the level of tyranny and dictatorship that is currently coming from 1600 Pennsylvania. Of course, you guys have saw that the Trump administration has arrested two yet incredible journalists, particularly black people, black journalists here in the United States, because of their journalism during the uprising that is currently going on in Minneapolis. I want to say that again. He is attacking an African-American journalist, a man and a woman in our community, who has not only basically documented protests for the last probably 10 to 20 years. These people are experienced journalists that has been doing this for a very, very long time. And of course, many of us woke up to the news. Many of us found out last night about the rest of our brother Don Lemon. Just wanted to so you guys can know who he is. For some of you guys that may not have been watching the TV, but at the end of the day, who don't know Don Lemon? Like, really, he did drop the ball on the dick, whatever the guy named they do the annual New Year's Eve celebration, right? And so this guy, Don Lemon, is a former CNN anchor, independent journalist, was arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles on January 30th in connection with his presence on a January 18th protest that breached the church service. The protest was tied to immigration and customs enforcement issues. The alleged charges is federal conspiracy and civil rights interference related to the rights to religious worship and other federal statutes, according to some reports. Exact formal charges are still being unsealed in details in court filings. The context, his legal team say that he was acting as a journalist. The DOJ say he was a part of an unlawful coordinated act, right? Another individual that was arrested is, and let me put a disclaimer. I'm probably going to say this individual's name wrong, but I'm gonna try to do it. It's Tara Jean Crew, who's identified as the Attorney General, and another person arrested with Don Lemon. The notes reported by the AG statement in a Daily Signal. Details were limited about what this person was arrested for. But of course, you guys know Georgia Fort, who's an independent journalist and a streamer. Georgia Fort has done a lot of incredible work of highlighting a lot of different things, especially things that are going on on the front lines and grassroots communities across America. Of course, you guys saw the video on her social media where federal agents were knocking at her door, and she was courageous enough to make sure that she went live to tell her story well before they could even try to put out their own narrative. So I'm definitely praying for Georgia Ford and her team. The other person's name is Jamel Lindell Lundy, also named in the Attorney General as opposed as arrest along with Don Lemon and others. Significant charges in detail has not been publicly clarified by, beyond the DOJ announcement. Other individual is this person right here was, definitely needed to be arrested. This was an individual, and I'm not going to even say his name. He was the person that was the sprayer that sprayed on Ilhan Omar, and he was arrested with charges on a U.S. official. And then also you have many people who have been arrested during this uprising of the Minneapolis protest. And I want to say, we have to continue to support the organizers and the organizations who are on the front line. A lot of times when we have these movements, people end up donating their money to some of these national conglomerate organizations, right? If you're trying to affect and impact Minneapolis, don't donate to NGAN to impact something that's going on in Minneapolis. We're not on the ground. We know of a number of organizations that you guys can support, but it's imperative that you do your research to make sure that you are supporting some of the organizations who are on ground, who are doing some of the frontline work. And a lot of times in our movement, we always, a lot of people, the organizations that have the resources to put out the press release, the organizations that have the resources to put the ad campaign on social media, email you about 100 times a day, you end up giving them the $5 to $10 to $25 to $50. But I'm asking that you really do your research to get connected with the organizations who are on the actual front lines. And sometimes in these movements, we mistaken by giving this money to individuals who, have certain infrastructures to be able to put out information. And so, today, man, I'm just going to talk about, just lawlessness, the architecture of tyranny. The reality of what we're dealing with the Grand Wizard that currently occupies 1600 Pennsylvania. Some of you call him president. I call him asshole. The reality is that this individual, the arrest of Don Lemon and Georgia Ford is not isolated. When you are trying to push an authoritarian agenda in anything, I always tell people all the time, it's important that we study these type of authoritarian regimes in our history, right? Across this world, there have been these same patterns. And the reality is when you really take your time to be able to really study this stuff, tyranny, and when we talk about dictatorship and communist society, authoritarian, and all of these different types of things, when you really understand and study American history and some of the presidents that tried to send us through these type of things, right? When you study the area of white supremacy, when you study Project 2025, when you study the things that have been going on when it comes to colonialism, you understand that this is nothing new. This is a part of the playbook. The reality of what they're currently doing is not something that they created in 2026. All of our ancestors and people who fought during the civil rights movement, Marcus Garvey, so many people for years, the people that we stand on the shoulders, they all warned us of this type of behavior. They all warned us of what was going on during the legislative sessions in the 1950s and the 1970s and the 1960s. They all warned us of these things, right? But it seems like in 2026 and 2025, and when we go through these election cycles, we think that we can just play with this. And the reality is that we're living through a reality that just shows us that we cannot play with our right to vote. We cannot play with this type of an agenda. And so I have this conversation because Donald Trump should have shown us enough in the first 4 years, but evidently he didn't show us enough, right? And so what is deeply saddening is the fact to wake up and know that Don Lemon in Georgia Fort is arrested. For what? For being independent journalists, for covering a protest, for highlighting, making sure people across the world knew the real reality other than the reality of what you wanted to put out in the media. And the reality is that Donald Trump always talks about, oh, all of these different countries and the democracy and blah, 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 and this, that, and the third. But what Donald Trump really actually wants is a censored media, a media that only puts out the narrative of right-wing extremists, right? Let me say that again. What Donald Trump actually wants is yet a common society that censors and basically sanitize our media outlets to only put out the narrative that they want to be put out in the media. This is stuff that happens in China, Russia, all of that, where you have state-owned media in the Middle East, where you have state-owned media and state-ran media, and what you hear on the media is what the government wants you to hear. What you hear on the media is what the government has worked with journalists to cover, not the necessary facts, right? It's only what the dictator wants, right? And so the arrest of Don Lemon in Georgia Fort only shows me what type of level of tyranny and dictatorship that Donald Trump wants to bring. And so real quick, I told Jeremy I wanted him to pull up these videos because I want you guys to hear them actually talk about, and I want you to actually hear when Don Lemon went into the actual church and interviewed these individuals. And so let me before y'all watch this video, I want y'all to know that we took the original 6-hour clip, right? We're not showing you the versions that's been chopped up by CNN or MSNBC or all of the other publications because we wanted y'all to get the raw things. And I'm gonna have Jeremy kind of skip through it and then go from there. But I want you guys to hear exactly what was going on inside of this church, and hear our brother Don Lemon repeatedly say, I'm not here to intimidate or whatever it is. Jeremy, turn it on for him.
Okay. If you want to walk over, you can, I guess. I can't believe you came up with that. Okay. And I'm just going to walk in, see what's happening. Oh no. And leaders, they have stopped the service. A lot of people, a number of people have left. There are some who are still sitting here.
Are you okay with the injustice that's happening within your city? We pray for justice every day. Are you okay? No, so you're not okay?
I'm just here. I'm just here photographing.
Are you okay with the injustice?
I'm not part of the group. I'm just here photographing. I'm a journalist. Excuse me, sir. Can I get right here? Thank you. I'm sorry. So you can see the protesters here have gathered over here.
So real quick, as y'all hear the video, you hear Don Lemon clearly tell the gentleman, "I'm here to observe. I'm a journalist." He identifies himself. All of this. Go back to it, Jeremy.
I'm not that one.
Go to the part where he interviewing the pastor. I'm gonna have him go to the part where he was interviewing the pastor and being able to make sure and basically repeatedly saying like, hey, this is, what I'm here for. He's interviewing him. He's not trying to intimidate him. He's not trying to do anything. But I just wanted to take the time so that y'all can hear it for yourself. So y'all want to say Dominique Alexander told y'all some narrative that ain't true or whatever. Jeremy, you ready? All right, let's listen into this.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So,
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay, but listen, we live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me though.
We're here to worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yes.
Okay, that's why we're here.
Okay.
That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
We're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a
No
Christian?
one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to
Unless you're here
chronicle
to
what
worship.
happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship.
Yeah.
We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, as y'all see the hypocrisy regarding this foolishness that's currently going on, you don't see a Don Lemon that's sitting there intimidating anybody. You don't see a Don Lemon that's sitting there saying anything to anybody or pressing his will on anybody. Nothing. You hear a person who's sitting there literally asking a few questions and clearly just concerned about what's going on. And of course, I don't know how you get arrested by literally just asking a few questions, right? You hear him display that, hey, I'm journalist, independent. I'm not here to intimidate anybody. I'm not here to pose my will. I'm just here as an independent journalist, right? And of course, Don Lemon, since CNN, has created his own independent platform, just like our brother Roland Martin and other people who are, want to make sure that they give alternative methods to media. Hell, that's the reason why we're doing the Frontline, because at the end of the day, as a person who has been at the front lines of civil and human rights, there were a lot of people that wanted to hear my perspective on a lot of different things because I'm knowledgeable on this work and this movement work and being able to make sure that people are informed. So the Next Generation Action Network and myself created a platform that we are able to do that and give good quality and deliver right to the people, right? Not traditional platforms, but making sure that we use social media and digital platforms to be able to do. Now, technology allows that, right? And yet our media does not have to always go through the avenues of what is regulated by the federal government, right? And especially where you have a president that every time Fox, every time NBC or ABC or CBS or CNN, MSNBC, every time these individuals sit here and say anything that he wants to don't want them to say he threatens to take their TV license, right? He threatens to remove them off of the air, right? The reality is that the person that he has appointed to the FTC commissioner has even alluded these type of things that are that is already outright unconstitutional, right? But like I tell you, I'm gonna keep this book right here because I'm gonna remind y'all every episode, you know, this is the thing that Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about, right? And so, you know, I just wanted to make sure, because I just want Donald Trump to just put this on his desk. Like, let this be on the Resolute desk, right? So that every time you think about something, you ask and read in this little old book, is it constitutional, right? And so the reality is that Don Lemon, here's Don Lemon. He creates this platform. He's there as an independent journalist. He identifies himself. He makes sure that everybody inside of this church understood who he was and what he was doing. He never said he was leading the protest or whatever, but they want to wake up and make America believe like Don Lemon is a frontline protester, that Don Lemon told the organizers to go to that doggone church, right? And so the reality is that, you know, as a person who has led many, many protests, large protests, right? The media is with us, and man, it's so many different, you know, journalists. You know, you got the news stations, you got the independent journalists, you got so many people. Some of these independent journalists, I haven't even met all of them. I know their platforms, but I haven't met all of them, right? And so it's sickening me because a lot of times, as a frontline organizer, I could tell you a lot of times we get a lot of our most authentic voices through our independent sources, right? Here in Dallas, we have Smash the Topic, and most people love Smash the Topic because it gives an independent way of journalists. But what if DPD want to turn around and arrest Smash for highlighting the real, the truth? You know, that's basically what the Trump administration did. But I do want Jeremy to pull up the video of Georgia Fort as the federal agents are knocking on her door and beating down her door before she's arrested. She did a quick video letting people know what was going on. Jeremy, hit that for us.
Agents are at my door right now. They're saying that they were able to go before a grand jury sometime, I guess, in the last 24 hours, and that they have a warrant for my arrest. I've talked to my attorney, and I'm being advised to go with them, I guess, down to Whipple. And my children are here. They're impacted by this. This is all stemming from the fact that I filmed a protest as a member of the media. We are supposed to have our constitutional right of the freedom to film, to be a member of the press. I don't feel like I have my First Amendment right as a member of the press because now federal agents are at my door arresting me for filming the church protest a few weeks ago. Again, I don't have a long time here, you guys, but I wanted you to know, for me, agents are at my door right now. My attorney has spoken with them. I did send a relative outside to talk to them. They're showing some type of documentation, apparently, that they got an indictment from a grand jury. I knew that.
So y'all, my bad. Sorry, y'all. Y'all gonna see me with this remote because I have to hear it when y'all listening to it. So it's real cut and raw over here, y'all. So, but other than that, y'all, you see this, man, and it's really deep in, like, it's really sad to see the fact that members of our journalism community is yet under attack. I saw the president of the National Associations of in Broadcasting the largest African American journalist association, the NABJ president held the live broadcast on the Don Lemon show today. I want you to know how important these individuals are to our community and what they do, right? The reality is that what Donald Trump is trying to do is send a signal is to try to silence anybody that can get a word out to mass amount of people. These are intimidation tactics to be able to prevent people from wanting to go, wanting to join, wanting to, like, people are going there in the droves to go to the snow, right? Because a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Dr. King told us that. And it's important that we understand that, yet don't wait. And like I told y'all before, don't wait until it's your cousin, your brother, your sister, your uncle. Don't wait until it's your day. The reality is that this man is insane. He's sick. And at the end of the day, we have to deal with it. We have to be able to stand up. Just like you've heard many times, the people united will never be divided. And I don't care whether you're black, blue, green, or Tahitian Tree. You need to be out here on this front line. You need to be given a voice in this movement. And I tell people all the time, you ain't always got to be a frontline protester. And you might say, hey, my job, I just can't do this, or I'm just busy. But at the end of the day, I tell you, if you're not a sustaining donor of an organization that is doing the work in your area of your community, then what are you doing? As the president of the Next Generation Action Network, I always tell people all the time, for every dollar that I get, oh, I support you, I'm here for you. Man, hey, man, go on there and put $5 or $10 or $15 or $25, because when you pick up the phone and calling me and talking about, oh, my son just got stopped by the police, you got to understand that local police union that I'm always trying to make sure that I limit their influence on our local political system. Those people got millions of dollars, right? And so at the end of the day, when I'm building a organization, I need to make sure that I have organizers, communication people inside the staff of the Next Generation Action Network. I have to have capacity to make sure that your local city council are passing laws that go along with working families, that they are passing ordinances that make sure that Dallas stay affordable and across communities, making sure our county embodies that when people are dying in the jails, making sure our state legislature are passing bills and laws that actually embodies human and yet civil rights, even federal, even GOTV, even electoral power. Our organization needs those resources. And across the country, I don't care where you are, or whether you're in Houston, or you're in Dallas, or you're in St. Louis, or you're in LA, or you're in Baltimore, or you're in Washington, D.C., or you're in Miami, or you're in Orlando, or you're in New York, or you're in Columbus, or you're in Detroit, you're in Flint, you're in Saginaw, you're in Oakland, you're in every one of these cities have an organization that is at the front line of your community, right? They have independent journalists that's at the front line of your community, right? And so if you're not a sustaining donor of one of those organizations that at the front line, not these national organizations that send you 100 doggone emails a day, but the ones that are here that you could pick up the phone and say, I need you to come to the hospital right now. I need you to come to my house right now. The ones that are doing the work, the collective community work across the country and right here in your community. And so, you know, what we're seeing right now, y'all, it's not isolated. It's sad, but it's not isolated. And the reality is that we have to stand up. We have to be ready. We have to be fearless in what's currently going on. And one of the things that's just really troubling to me is the fact that, you know, who is actually running the actual federal government right now? Who's actually running the DOJ? Who's actually running this crap here? And sad, but it's here, man. And so I just wanted to dedicate this show to Don Lemon and to Georgia Fort, and to all of the frontline organizers and people who are blazing the snow and the cold weather. And my hats goes off to you, because trust me, one thing Dominique Alexander don't like is the cold, right? Many people been asking me, am I going to Minneapolis? And I done saw many people wanting to go, but I could tell y'all one thing, that I do a double take, is the cold. I am a true southerner, and man, I've been thinking about it these last couple of days, but that cold hit a little different, and I know Minnesota hit a little different. I already know that's about 5 or 10, and I already know what I'm gonna be doing. You're gonna see Dominique sitting right there in the window looking at you. I promise you, I already know it, so I ain't even gonna go up there and set myself up for failure, right? So to many people, let's stay involved, let's stay cautious, and let's realize what's currently going on in this country, and let's do it. And then also, like I said, every day of our episode, I'm going to be showing and showcasing a different version of an Oak Cliff hoodie. For Oak Cliff is a nonprofit here based in Dallas, Texas. Its headquarters is in the zip code that I was born and raised in, right? 75216, the best zip code in Oak Cliff. It's the heart of Oak Cliff, right? And so, of course, on their new this edition this year, they did all of the different high schools in Oak Cliff. And so this version is Molina High School, y'all. And so shout out to the team over there at 4 Oak Cliff. This nonprofit is literally mission is to break rid of a community in the super block, or what they have created, a super block where they are focused on really addressing communities and breaking down systemic oppression in those particular communities. They do a lot of amazing work, and I am truly grateful for, and that was my phone, that's so ghetto, truly grateful to Taylor Torrance, Xavier Henderson, and all of the great people who are doing amazing work in this community or whatever. So to everybody, man, love y'all. Let's stay prayed up. Let's continue to stay covered, and let's do this. And I'm going to come with another Oak Cliff hoodie, but y'all can go on 4oakcliff.org and go pick up your hoodie. Support this nonprofit that does a lot of great work in our Oak Cliff community. But also, like I said, y'all, me and Jeremy been doing a lot of great work of being able to make sure that we lay out this program as we get better. Each one we have. Y'all, listen, this is a new avenue for me, and hey, we here, and Jeremy has to deal with my foolishness all day long. Jeremy, I don't need you nodding your head. I don't need you doing that. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you doing that. But at the end of the day, shout out to the entire NGAN team. Shout out to Jeremy, and also y'all who celebrated his 45th birthday just the other day. He can't hang because he couldn't come to work the next day. But we here, and hey, let's do another episode. Let's go.
You've just heard the truth. Not watered down, not corporate approved, not shaped to fit their narrative, but from the souls of the street where justice is born. This isn't about the algorithms or headlines. This is about our children, our elders, our freedom, our right to live, breathe, vote, speak, and be seen. If you felt something in your spirit today, if you learned something that they never wanted you to know, if you heard your story in mine, then this is your platform too. I need you to be a part of the movement. Subscribe, follow, stay connected, not just to me, but to the mission. Find me on every platform, @Nick Alex. That's NIQUEALEX, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, or whatever they call it.